forgot to do the intro. I didn't click quickly enough.
Start it over.
I was looking down the side and I couldn't find it anywhere. And
Unacceptable. A suspension. You see how people getting suspended left, right, and center this week?
do you know what's unacceptable? You. Right. Cool. So yeah, we're here to talk about She-Hulk season 4. Season 4, episode 4. Another. Yeah, we actually missed loads of She-Hulk episodes. We're just going straight into the episode.
Yeah, we missed the rest of season 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. Like, loads of stuff happens. Like loads of stuff. But yeah, season 4. I think another fine episode.
Episode 4. Jesus, Manny. You just said it again.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Could you take over the intro, please?
Yes, welcome, folks. Welcome to She-Hulk season 1, episode 4. Of course, Manny's way ahead of us, so he's already seeing the rest of it.
I already know what happens.
Yeah, no spoilers, Manny.
Okay, no.
Okay, there we go. So yes, take it over, Manny.
Okay, so an interesting episode. To be fair, another. Like, on the surface, it feels just like episode 3. On the surface, it doesn't actually feel as though this episode done a lot in terms of progressing the general story, but also the story of the MCU in general. But when you start peeling back some of the layers, a lot has actually happened in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's another cracking episode. This by far is becoming my actual favorite MCU show.
Wow.
Every episode has been excellent. I can't fault. I haven't seen 1 out of the 4 episodes so far that I could say, well, that one wasn't good. They've all been great. Consistently, they've been very good. So whoever the writing team is for this one, they've been top notch because it's been absolutely.
I am the chief writer on She-Hulk.
Well, there you go. That's why they call you the Duke.
So let's just get straight into some questions. My brother's actually already brought up.
Yes, welcome back, Kay. We missed you last week.
It turned out he just forgot last week, which is the reason he never turned up. I know, right? So he's already brought up 2 points I want to cover. What do you want to cover first? Do you want to cover Donny Blaze, or do you want to talk about the possible confirmation that we now have Mephisto in the Marvel Cinematic Universe via Madison? What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah,
you look a bit confused by the second point. I seem
no. I know exactly about. I know he was actually Mephisto was one of my favorite characters on Marvel versus X-Men. No, Capcom.
Okay, I'm sure they've done lots of story background in that beat 'em up game.
They had a lot of these characters, and a lot of people wouldn't know. He had Mephisto. He also had his son Blackheart was on there as well. It's like but okay. Yeah. So it's good.
Okay, so let's talk about Mephisto, shall we? So,
no, let's go with Johnny, with Donny.
With Donny, yes. Yeah, I have to admit, I got a bit confused because I heard Johnny at first, and I thought that can't be Ghost Rider. And then I was like this to the to my speakers, and it was definitely Donny, and I was a bit relieved it wasn't Johnny. And Cake, do not worry, I do not think Donny Blaze is Johnny Blaze, and I'll get into my reasons for that later. So. Essentially, Donny Blaze is in the what do they call that place in America?
It's like
White Castle.
Yeah, he's like in Vegas. It looks like he's in Vegas. I think
it's called the White Castle, where basically it's like it's a magic club where you can only get in if you like have connections to other well-known magicians. It's like and he's doing his spells, and Donny has at some point been at Carmitage for a week before he got kicked out for smuggling kegs into Carmitage.
He was just trying to spice things up, literally.
And yeah, he actually and he was opening up portals.
Yeah, but can we call
Can we call She-Hulk in the next episode? I mean, we'll get onto that. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But yeah, go on, David.
Well, let's just start by just how the audience was just so captivated by his tricks and all his showmanship that he was doing that they almost looked, to the common eye, they looked disinterested.
Yeah. And obviously they were quite bored. And I think what we have to remember is
no, I don't think so. I think maybe we're reading it wrong. I mean, they were just super excited that it looked to the common eye that maybe they were bored, but
maybe.
Yeah, they were just so engulfed by his passion and like his show. And you have to say, his hype man is just the best hype man ever. Don't care what he does, don't care how small it is, he's just on it. And I'm wondering, is the hype man a demon?
Well, we're going to get into this. Is exactly the point myself and my brother want to make. So he gets Madison up on stage, who's a bit of a ditzy kind of
party girl.
You're like your typical. I've never been to the West Coast of America. It is the West Coast.
Let's not generalize.
So I've never met this kind of. I don't know if they exist. I'm just going to put it out there. I've never met this kind of ditzy kind of West Coast American female type character they put in here. But she gets up on stage and again, she's not very impressed by the magic. And I guess what I was going to say as well is, I guess now we're living in a post-Thanos, post-blip age, where are people going to be as impressed by magic as they were before they knew about the existence of Thanos and Asgardian gods and whatnot? I guess not.
True. But then it also leaves other avenues, such as you've got like the Avengers, you've got the well, even though they're not there, but you've got all these superhero faction who are out there doing, like, fighting the good fight, doing big things. And then you've just got small people like these guys now who are just like, well, you know what? I'm going to use my powers to gain financially what I can, i.e. working in Vegas, working in, just doing whatever I can, whether it be hired help for, the local, mobster or whatever. I'm just going to do what I can or whatever. But it seems like there's a whole market that's left open for mid-tier
and I guess
fame superheroes to actually get a lock on this, because it seems like there's a lot of renegade actions going on with I mean, you'd never think someone who's actually come from Wong's training would be out there like literally using his teaching to
and he's somehow managed to steal one of the little sling wrist thingies from Carnotagians. I mean, Wong should have been putting like numbers on all of those like contraptions, so that things will know about it. So that's poor from Wong. You need to be doing better admin on your gear.
He should probably just hire some help.
Yeah, like I mean, apparently Davin's available, Wong. So if you need Davin to move to Carnotage just to do your admin for you. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, so Madison ends up actually going into this portal which he creates on stage, and she eventually winds up coming out in Carnotage whilst Wong is watching The Sopranos
with a heart beating in her hand.
Which, I mean, there's a lot going on here. So what do we know happened? So she ended up in a kind of fire dimension where she had a chat with a goat named Jake.
Hey, it happens.
Now, Jake made her sign a contract, but she's not allowed to say what the contract was. So, I mean, it all seems very pally-pally between Madison and Jake. I mean, Madison and Wong, but...
That's not his name. What does she call him?
Wonga.
There you go.
Yep, Wonga's pad, yes, Wonga. But, so they all seem very pally-pally, but... First question. Of all the places where Jake the goat, who is probably Mephisto, of all the places Jake could have dropped Madison off, why drop her off in the pad of one of the most powerful sorcerers in the MCU?
Yeah, and what did she get from signing that contract?
Well, she was in hell basically, so it was either that or die, I imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, then it also makes you think, how long was she there? Because maybe time runs differently there.
Maybe.
Because that couldn't have happened in a few seconds. You just there like that, and then you managed to find the ruler of that realm to then give him a few drops of your blood, get a heart, end up in Wong's living room, watching Soprano like there's nothing.
So as my brother said, it was probably her soul. It was probably, look, I'll give you your soul back, but you need to do this little favor for me. And I wonder if Mephisto has actually dropped her into Wong's lap for the sole purpose of befriending Wong, and then actually she's going to double cross him at some point at the behest of Mephisto, aka Jake the Goat.
Yeah, and Jake sounds like a nice guy. I mean, I don't know him personally.
I mean, I don't know him personally either, but I mean, I heard he's a bit two-faced.
Probably.
So that is my theory around Madison. I think that she's actually gonna, not because she wants to particularly do it, but I think she's been asked to do it, and I think she's going to end up, knowingly or unknowingly, end up betraying Wong because Mephisto has made her do it. Let's try some vodka and yak milk. You go first, Kay, and then tell us how that goes.
Yeah. Wong has still got some, you know, we can go pop over, see him, get it from him.
What do you think? What do you think of my Madison theory?
Yeah, I find it quite interesting, and yeah, I agree with you on that. And also, what I also think as well with Madison, just the character again. I mean, I already like the character. Like, we actually want to see more.
She's awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah, more of the character. Like, you know, I mean, she didn't do a lot, but she did a lot.
Yeah.
With what she was given to work with, like, and it, you know, it just goes to show. Sometimes it's not just the writing, but also who's actually portraying the character and what the effort they put in. Because she's an absolute dynamite, like, you know, even in the courtroom, literally you drag her from a nightclub. I mean, it seems like she's always in a nightclub, you know, so, you know, she was in a nightclub, you know, drink in hand, having a good time, you know, and literally, boom, there she is. But I'm wondering if, because sometimes when you see someone like that, where they're just like carefree, overly carefree, not just like a regular, you know, there's levels to being carefree. And that just looks like it's a kind of like, maybe she's been through something serious and she's just partying just to try and like forget things.
There's something deeper going on behind the scenes, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe that's what she actually gave up.
Your type. Mr. Cater, she has a pulse. So yes, she is his type.
Well, yeah, but I like them more sober. You know, yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that as well.
Yeah, I like them.
Coming your way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad we agree on that. So yeah, there's more to meets the eye than Madison, definitely. But I like Madison the character, and I think she's a good person. I don't think she's a bad person.
No, but Mephisto, she's not.
But Mephisto, as we know, is very, very manipulative.
Yeah, but surely Wong would be able to sense something about her with the kind of.
Maybe he's falling in. Maybe he's, you know, beginning to fall in love, and we all know what happens.
Yeah. They're not just friends. They're not just friends. Come on now, she's around there like.
They're falling in love. So do you know what happens when people fall in love? You know, this doesn't start to work as well.
Doesn't.
You start to see beyond certain red flags. You see a red flag and you're like, nah, it's fine. Amber. Yeah. That's an Amber Heard. If you've got an Amber Heard flag, that's even worse than a red flag. I just want to point out. But in terms of Wong here, he just might be ignoring the red flags because he likes her so much. And you know something? I imagine he gets quite lonely in Carmitage. So why shouldn't Wong have a bit of love?
Yeah, true, exactly. I mean, but it's I also like I like Donny Blaze as well. I think.
Okay, let's talk about Donny Blaze. Let's not jump around. Let's actually move to point properly. So Donny Blaze. So we introduced to Donny Blaze, who, as I said already, got me a bit confused because I was concerned that was actually Johnny Blaze, who's the first Ghost Rider. No, it was Donny Blaze. So yeah, Donny Blaze is the magician who worked at Carmitage, who was an apprentice at Carmitage, and was kicked out for smuggling kegs of beer into Carmitage. Yeah, he's just causing a bit of havoc, being a second-rate magician, basically, with those sling rings.
Yeah, but what sorry to interrupt, Manny, one sec, but I don't think what if he's more powerful than we realize? Because for him to be able to open but think about it, for him to be able to open portals within a week with just 1 week of training.
Yeah, but do you remember in Spider-Man No Way Home? They're like, Peter Parker's best mate just tried it one or two times. Hey, I've opened the portal. Look at me.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, another thing as well, if he was that powerful, I don't think he would have gone begging to Wong for help when all those little small goblin demons started to.
Well, sometimes sometimes they have powers, but they just don't know how to use it. So you just do things where it's just literally like by accident, fluke, you're able to do certain things, and then it's like, oh my God, I've done this. Can you fix it? Kind of like me sometimes with the laptop when I have to be like, oh, Duke, what have I done? Help me.
Maybe. We don't know. We don't know for sure. I don't know how much of Mr. Blaze we're going to see later, but yeah,
maybe again, sorry, it's not just him, but maybe it's his hype man that's got some hidden powers, and that's
you're possibly overthinking things. You're possibly going a bit.
Well, you don't think that there's something strange about the hype man? He doesn't.
I just think he's a funny dude. I think he was purely there for comic relief. He's not really a known MCU character or anything like that. Anyway, Donny Blaze. Donny Blaze, I think, is a character from the comics in the 70s called Miracle Man. They look similar. Got similar kind of powers. Miracle Man wasn't like a big player in the Marvel comics. I think he just appeared in a few 70s stories, maybe a few stories in the 80s. Like with the Defenders, was a magician, didn't really do a lot. I think he's like an amalgamation. I think this Donny Blaze character is like an amalgamation of different characters from the MCU. So no, I don't think it's Ghost Rider. I think we're fine.
Yeah, no, I don't for 1 second think he's Ghost Rider, but yeah, it's a I think he's an annoyance. The character, I think, in the sense like they bring him there to probably keep Wong on his toe. Because he's always going to be doing some mess, and Wong's going to have to fix it up, and
Yeah. So those are the two main bits. I think so that's opening up quite nicely. The fact that we've now got Mephisto in the MCU. Will he have a brother named Johnny? Well, that could be interesting. That could be a way to introduce Ghost Rider if he has got a brother named Johnny. And somehow, oh God, I've forgotten the name of the demon which occupies Ghost Rider. But yeah, somehow they open up a portal to that realm which the Ghost Rider demon inhabits. Yeah, that would be quite. That's actually, something. That's quite a good theory as to how Ghost Rider could actually be introduced. Davian, applaud my brother, please. Proper clap. Thank you.
There you go.
Bravo.
You. It would be a good way to actually. Oh, is that the demon?
And the demon's name is Zarathos. Thank you. Just so people know, if the name Zarathos gets mentioned, we're talking Ghost Rider moving forward.
Yeah, it's nice though if that is the case, and they're slowly bringing out little different avenues and
maybe they've already. So this series has so far has hinted at Wolverine, it's hinted at Mephisto, and it's hinted maybe at Ghost Rider. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's that's laying down some good Easter eggs, and it's laying down some good kind of story for the future as well.
No, 100%. Because if they weren't trying to, now that the more I think about it, the more I think it's actually, Kay is correct in the sense that if they didn't want to actually have us speculating, then you could have just called him the Great Donny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. There was a
but to do that, it's literally like you're
the cow. Yep.
It's like you're trying to say, like you're literally trying to make it obvious, like, oh, Johnny Blaze, you're going down that road or whatever. So
yeah. So I think so there's just a lot of potential here, and I'm very excited about the prospect of Mephisto coming in. One thing I think is worth mentioning, do you follow a YouTube channel called New Rockstars?
Yeah, but I haven't seen a lot of their stuff coming up. Even though I subscribe to it, I haven't seen much stuff come up on my
news. When WandaVision was out, their main guy, who is the god of YouTube kind of Marvel theories and analyzing stuff, yes, he's even better than me, is a man named Eric Voss, and he kept on theorizing about Mephisto being a character in WandaVision. Kept on picking out clues in WandaVision, saying, "Oh, that's definitely a clear sign that Mephisto is in WandaVision." Mephisto never turns up in WandaVision. Turns out the writers weren't even aware of Mephisto being an actual MCU, like a Marvel Comics character. Sorry. Oh, anyway, wow. So Eric Voss, he's very much become the he's become the butt of a lot of jokes ever since then. Any Mephisto kind of references, as funny as they are, people will say, if there's a hexagon at the back of a scene randomly, people will go, "Oh, I bet Eric Voss thinks that's Mephisto," and stuff like that. But, so Eric Voss, he wears a T-shirt which says, "Hello, I'm Eric Voss," on it.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch the end credits of She-Hulk, where they go to artwork, there's a bit of artwork where Madison is signing the contract, and the goat has a T-shirt on saying, "Hello, I'm Jake."
Oh, wow.
So, genuinely, there's a possibility that the MCU are actually trolling Eric Voss from New Rockstars because he was so obsessed with Mephisto that actually that actually could be a little inside joke about Eric.
You know what? Even if that's the case, that's a win. That's still a win for him. The fact that
he was happy.
They've dedicated that time to actually troll you just because of your theories and your insight, what you believe you'd figured out or whatever. Then hey, it's a win.
And Iman Vellani has even said that she watches all the New Rockstars content.
Yeah.
And she sits there and she thinks, she sits there going, "Oh, that's a good theory. Oh, you're way off on that theory," so forth. And they've interviewed on the show. So it's very possible that maybe she could have had conversations with the Marvel guys to say, "Oh, have you heard of this Eric Voss guy? He's got all these theories about Mephisto and so forth." And they've looked into it and they've made a joke out of it.
Yeah, maybe they've known about him as well too. Because when it comes to MCU, it's especially over the last 10 years plus, it's just snowballed into something bigger than even what it had probably thought it would have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think any time, especially if New Rockstar, which will have a great following of subscribers, etc., I think they will pay attention to all those because they know that there's a lot of people that's actually paying attention to that's subscribed to it. So they're going to look to see what the content is saying. And who knows, sometimes they probably watch some of those things and they probably take.
Do you know something? I am sure Kevin Feige has a team that looks just at the YouTube and Twitter sphere, just to see what the comments are, just to kind of see what the feedback is. Maybe if some theories are getting a bit too close to the truth, Kevin might be like, we got to change our story a bit because people are beginning to guess a bit too easily what the payoff's going to be. So we need to swerve them, just change this bit. I am sure all of that is going on, but Mephisto is very exciting to come in. This could all link up to the Midnight Sun story. This will all link up with the Blade stories, the Black Knight stories.
What's the Midnight Sun?
Midnight Suns are essentially a team of kind of like your mystical kind of superheroes. So Midnight Suns was made up of, help me in the comments here, Ghost Rider, Morbius. Ghost Rider, Morbius, Blade was in the Midnight Suns. There's a few other people in the Midnight. I'm going to have to Google this. To be honest, Midnight Suns was not one of my favorite stories, but they are a very cool team. Okay, so yeah, Ghost Rider, Morbius, Blade, Hannibal King. Don't know who Hannibal King is. Louise Hastings. Don't know who Louise Hastings is. Victoria Montesi. Don't know who she is. Sam Buchanan. Don't know who he is. But those are the Midnight Suns.
Okay, and of them you only know about 3, 4.
Yeah, so they're essentially they're essentially demon hunters. Oh, Wong was actually a Midnight Sun at one point as well. Werewolf by Night was a Midnight Sun, and we do have a Werewolf by Night one-off show coming up on Disney Plus. So that could all link in. Both Ghost Riders were actually Midnight Suns. Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze. Iron Fist was. Damien Hellstorm, who's the son of Satan, was as well. Dr. Voodoo and Doctor Strange are all both Midnight Suns as well. So, so there's potential there for the formation of that team with the arrival of Mephisto, and this could then even feed back into the Agnes, the Agatha Harkness story. Sorry, that could all feed into that as well. All feed into Scarlet Witch and the Wanda Maximoff story. So much
could work because let's face it, before the MCU was as big as how it was, if you go back to when we were going to school, if anyone thought out of all the cartoons that we used to watch, which one do we think would have been like huge and big? It would have been X-Men. X-Men out of the of Marvel, because X-Men was that, and look at it. It wasn't. X-Men made movies, wasn't that great. Avengers completely just like took over the world in terms of that. So maybe these guys, Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns could actually do very well.
So yeah, again, it's all down to writing, isn't it? And at the end of the day, if you get your writing down, you create characters that people can relate to. You have themes which people can relate to in a modern contemporary sense, but also kind of like a universal sense.
Yeah, now it seems like they're kind of transitioning into the mystic god realm / type, multiverse theories of the MCU. Then this would be perfect for them to actually do stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, we've got a theory here as well. Donny will send Brother Johnny into a dimension. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's what I was alluding to, that potentially either he'll send Johnny into a dimension to meet Zarathos, if this brother theory is correct, or either Zarathos will come out of the dimension he opens to occupy Jimmy. Of course, we already have had a version of Ghost Rider in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who was the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, I think. But nobody knows if Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon or not. And even if it isn't, it's part of the multiverse now anyway. But yeah. So yeah, Mephisto is exciting. We had a bit more of an insight into She-Hulk's life. She joins the MCU equivalent of Tinder called Matcha.
Yeah.
And do you know something? I didn't find this bit very believable. If you were scrolling, and David, if you were scrolling through Tinder and you saw Tatiana Maslany come up on your Tinder feed, would you swipe like I don't know which way is no and which way is yes, but would you reject the? Would you say no to Tatiana?
Well, I think what the issue was is nothing about her attractiveness, but it was just more about her image, what she put out there. So, like her, like her friend says,
It's like a vibe. You're saying her vibe was all wrong.
In the sense that she put out her picture was her work photo.
So that was like a LinkedIn. I didn't even make the joke, didn't it? That this was more
like she used her literally, like she just transferred like her LinkedIn, like her business, which was what was the joke? What did their friend said to her?
I can't remember the exact joke.
But it was funny as hell what she actually said, because you're thinking like, that is really exactly the kind of energy that you're putting out. So you're not gonna meet people who think, oh yeah, this and that. Like, it's great that you like your job, but it seems like she just doesn't know how to be sociable. Sorry. So she just think, well, if they see that, that should be fine. That's a perfectly normal photo or whatever. Bless her, because again, when you're a novice to certain things, you just think that it's the norm, but she doesn't realize that that's a complete different world as to the reality what she's used to in terms of how people interact. Because how people behave on social media as opposed to how they are in person is completely different 90% of the time. Yeah, which is why you have things like trolls.
Yeah, so Robbie Reyes, sorry, there's not Danny Ketchel, there's a Robbie Reyes version of Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thank you for correcting me. I knew I had a feeling it wasn't Danny Ketchel.
How many Ghost Riders?
Well, you've got to remember, Zarophos is a demon that just goes around possessing whoever he thinks will be his best host for him to get vengeance through.
Yeah.
So even in like not ancient times, but even like in the 1800s, there was a Ghost Rider. Instead of having a motorcycle, he rode on a horse.
He was on the horse. He was in the movie.
So yeah. And my brother's very excited about the Red and Gold Daredevil appearing next week. Which actually I've got a little theory. So we see Jennifer, she goes on a few dates. She ends up going on a date with David Otunga from WWE.
That wasn't.
Yes, it was David Otunga.
The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about the last one. I was like, oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, she goes on a date with another guy who seems to know a lot about certain things, like asking her if she can be cut by vibranium. Did you think that was a bit?
Yeah, he was. He had serial killer vibe about him. Like,
or do you think like maybe he might have an ulterior motive than just trying to?
Maybe he was. Maybe he's with them guys that attacked her last week. He's probably part of that, and he was just pretending like, they're just sending someone awkward. Just go in and be yourself. Just ask questions like you would ask. And he's asking those kind of questions. And she's just thinking, well, this is just someone being weird on a date, asking weird stuff. But in theory, what he's trying to do, he's just trying to get probed for information. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, either he's just horrid at going on dates, or he was trying to actually get information about her, which could assist somebody maybe trying to get her blood. Because if vibranium can cut her, then whoever the wreckers are working for can just try and source some vibranium from somewhere.
Yeah, that was sus, because for you to just randomly mention out of anything, you didn't even say, oh, what about against any alien? He specifically brought that up. Like, a normal regular person wouldn't mention something like that.
No, not at all. So that's weird. Unless he's into some really kinky stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, probably. So eventually she meets a pediatrician, and they get on pretty well, it's fair to say. And despite Wong interrupting their date, and grabbing her so they can fight away those demons, it goes well. And he even ends up. They even end up going all the way on their first date. It's fair to say.
Yeah, but I think.
Well,
based on what happened, I think it was a case like, how it ended in the morning. I think it's a case maybe he probably felt like, oh my God, she catfished me. She did, whereas if she had probably said from the get-go, in case who knows, there are some people who doesn't even pay attention to the news. And so he might not even know that she's you know, she's who she is.
Let's not make excuses for him. He's a dickhead.
No, it's not making an excuse for him. I'm saying, suppose you don't know. At least if you say to the person on the listen, yeah, this is just me, this when I transform, but I can go back, I can change, etc. And then
how did he not realize this when he's seen her? Like, oh, so this is your other form, okay. But he obviously is not interested in the Jennifer Waters form and leaves. He only wanted the She-Hulk experience. He never wanted, and he's not interested in Jennifer Waters, which I just think, God, you're a bit weird. Like, how could you not be attracted to Tatiana as well? Just bizarre.
Well, that's not his fault, because look at it, like, you know, when she created the Jennifer profile, no one was interested.
Trust you to defend the toxic.
No, I'm not defending him. I'm saying about her profile in general. No one was interested in her actual profile. You look at it, when she put it up, there was not one person that matched. The minute she changed it and put She-Hulk, she started just getting it. It was like raining like my £5 notes last week.
Yeah, so he was only interested in kind of satisfying his weird kind of superhero fetish. That was it.
And she
never cared about Jennifer as a person.
I don't think She-Hulk cares. I think She-Hulk has her own personality over Jennifer as well. That you're kind of starting to see. She-Hulk is a lot more
confident. She's a lot more confident. She's a lot more sassy. She's a lot more liberated, it's fair to say as well. What they do in the comics a lot more is they kind of play a lot more on Jennifer kind of like being this, I don't want to say shy or meek, but there might be a better word to describe
the word, but I don't think I should use it.
But yeah, she's a bit, yeah, could you be polite, please? She's a bit shy in the comics, and she's not very outgoing, like with herself. She's a bit insecure about her looks and so forth. And then basically when she becomes She-Hulk, it's still very much Jennifer, but she's kind of like the maximized version of the person she's always wanted to be.
Yeah, literally, yeah. She's like embracing who she is, because she's got the brains and now she has the looks and the body what she probably wanted. Maybe she's just never really been confident.
Reserved, thank you. Yeah, reserved is a good word. Thank you.
Reserved.
Yeah. So like I'm 5'8". Like, trust me, if I was 6'5", you know, and built like David Otunga, I bet I'd be a totally different person.
I actually thought you was gonna say and built like Davey P. I was gonna, oh wow, yeah, thank you, Manny. But you know, obviously,
no. See, trust you. See, your first thought for, oh, he's gonna mention me, isn't he? No.
Because you were saying Dave. I didn't know there was many other Daves out there. You said Dave.
Dave is like the most common name apart from John in the Western world. Okay. Wong has been getting very close to a few people. She-Hulk, Shang-Chi, America Chavez. He's setting up a nice team. Maybe a version of the Defenders. Ooh, I like that. And Mr. Kato, what if Val is setting up? I remember Wong is getting close with
Abomination. He's got Abomination as well.
So what if Wong is actually setting up some kind of alternative team to Val's Thunderbolts / Dark Avengers? So what if Wong is kind of setting up his team, Val setting up her team, and we could have some kind of, you know, underground secret war, but not the other type of secret war thing going on.
You know, all out brawl.
Kay agrees with you, Mr. Kato. I think this is an amazing shout. Mr. Kato, why don't you come on the stream and I'll kick Davey off?
What have I done?
Exactly, nothing.
I've been pretty good this week, like, you know.
Yeah, I know, but you know, when someone's coming up with hot subject matter like this can't be ignored.
Hot takes.
You know,
well, I got something that Mr. Kato ain't got.
Okay. Let's keep it.
No, you know, to make it rain for She-Hulk.
Dowdy's not gonna dance for you if you do that for him.
Hey, it's a $5. You never know.
I mean, try and find out. He might smack you in the face.
It's a $5.
Just kick Davey. Yeah, okay. Yeah, kicked him. Okay, he's back. And remember,
what do you think of it so far, Duke?
Yeah. So that was interesting. So yeah, she's a bit upset because I think she thought he's a pediatrician. He's probably a nice guy, but he done all the moves, didn't he? He said stuff like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about myself. Why don't we talk about you?" And probably feigned interest, just to get his wicked waiver. Just physically kick him. I mean, that's mean.
Yeah, but, get Wong to open a portal. I say you'd have to get Wong to open a portal to get you here.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, we're Indian, so we could do that. We're not too far from Comatage. We can do that. So yeah, and then the episode essentially ends with Jennifer being served. So Titania, sorry. Oh, this is getting very confusing. Titania, played by Jimmy Jamil, has served She-Hulk and put a trademark
on the She-Hulk.
Yeah. On the She-Hulk name. So as was said here, can we call She-Hulk in the next episode? Probably not. And interestingly, She-Hulk isn't even a big fan of the name She-Hulk, but now I think because Titania has come in and kind of taken the name from her, she's like, hey, that's my name. Even though I don't like the name, that's my name to give up. It's not yours to take from me.
True. But then at the same time, I mean, she still could also copyright the name, just change the spelling.
I mean, that would just be really boring TV.
Yeah, just change the spelling and that's it. You still get to keep your name.
That'll just be really boring TV. Nobody wants to see a court case episode about a hyphen.
I'm She-Hulk with a C, not with an S.
Okay, so, okay, this is why you're not a TV writer.
I'm just saying if she wants to keep the name and she wants to, that's the only way around it legally if she loses.
Okay, says the man with the law degree.
Actually, there's plenty of YouTube lawyers that will help assist.
I've got a nephew who's a lawyer. His wife is a lawyer as well. Maybe I'll get them on one day just to talk through a few things legally, so we're not here just making stuff up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Can Jen represent herself or need another attorney named Murdoch? Cake, you should come on the stream as well. Davian, you're fired for 2 people now. And Dowdy will dance for 50s, not 5s, you cheap. You cheap motherfucker. Yeah, that could be the reason Daredevil turns up or Matt Murdock turns up. He's like,
maybe Titania. What if Titania gets him to represent her?
Maybe. That's another good point.
Because think about it. She would have already known that She-Hulk is already working for a big law firm where she's the head of her own department, superhero department for said firm. So, obviously Titania, because the fact that she's got like a cult following that's like saying free her and whatnot, it means I'm pretty sure all those people would have probably been someone on there, i.e. one of those fans on there that would have probably told her, you know what if you copyright the name, then that way you'd actually own the rights to it. Also, since she's this, how about you get this guy, Matt Murdock? He's a very good lawyer. He probably could take her on since she's got like because Matt Murdock always seems to want to help the underdog. And in this case, it could be perceived as Titania being the underdog because she's just a woman going up against the great She-Hulk and a big law firm. So he might be representing her.
Maybe. It's possible. No, it's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. A few things I'll say is, number one, Daredevil is primarily a defense attorney. So it's Titania going after She-Hulk.
No, She-Hulk is going after Titania because all she's done is just process served her to say you can't use that name anymore.
Oh yeah,
So
so
now,
She-Hulk going after Titania to
yeah,
say
so She-Hulk would be the one that would be.
she'll be the prosecutor. Yeah, so maybe it could be her. The other thing about Daredevil as well is that he's very picky about the cases he takes on because of his super sensory hearing. He can detect heartbeats and he
Yeah,
can tell whether somebody is lying or not.
yeah, I know that. Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see if he's representing Titania and he's aware that they're lying.
how ironic that they actually, Daredevil can actually tell that if someone is lying, and also, um, Tim Roth, who plays Abomination, actually started a series where he could actually tell when people was lying. You remember that show, Lie to Me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Got another theory here. Sorry, Madison signed the contract never to return to the dimension or to get Wong in return for her soul. I think it's the second one, personally, Cake. I think she needs to get Wong to Mephisto so she can have her soul back, and we still need to understand and work out whose heart was that.
That's what I'm saying. She just came in with it like it's nothing, and Wong didn't even ask any questions about that. Yeah. He was more concerned about her, doing a spoiler on his show on The Sopranos. It's like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just mad. It's just really awesome that potentially Wong's going to be going off against Mephisto. I really liked the bit as well. Sorry, I'm just going to finish on the Daredevil point. What are bets on Daredevil ends up sleeping with She-Hulk in episode 5?
Well, She-Hulk, from what we've seen, she is a sucker for a man with a brain and also good looks. So
Pacemaker inhibits that ability of Daredevil. But we don't know if this Daredevil has the pacemaker. Because we don't know if this Daredevil, we don't know what version of, we don't know. When did Daredevil get the pacemaker, first of all?
No, it's not him having the pacemaker. It's basically saying,
if the person,
if someone has a pacemaker.
But I don't think Titania's got a pacemaker.
No, I think he was probably just saying in general, just that's the only type of people who could actually, he can't detect when they're like misleading him. If they're having
my brother's just showing off his knowledge of everything. He's just dropping as many knowledge bombs as he possibly can, just to show off, basically. Oh God, there was something else I wanted to mention as one last point. Totally forgotten what it was.
Would it have been about
Daredevil? That was it. I love how self-aware, like she is. When I like the conversations she has with the camera, like with us, the audience, breaking that fourth wall. Like when she says, "Oh, Wong's in this episode," like.
Yeah, and he's getting popular, and he's got like, She mentioned exactly what you was talking about, saying you said that last week. You're saying, oh, what, Wong is getting like he's getting really popular, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's funny that you actually said that last week, and she actually addressed that.
Yeah.
That he's getting way too popular type of thing or whatever.
But what I liked as well was that she said that he's like an armor for Twitter. So I love the fact that the writers already know before the first episode came out that She-Hulk was going to be panned by a certain type of person on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they knew that was going to happen, and they've just said, something, we're not writing for these people. These people have their bigoted views or whatever, and like we're not interested in doing this. Show isn't for them. So if they don't get it, they don't get it. That's up to them. But we're going to kind of poke fun at it as well with like that comment by saying, yeah, but I bet these people will like Wong though, and they'll be like bigging up Wong in like the comments, and that will give us some give us a bit of a breather on Twitter. I just love how self-aware the show is, and just and it's willing to address that some people on Twitter are idiots, and and they do talk a lot of rubbish, and they're prepared for it, and something, they're just going to take it and they're not going to listen to it.
Yeah, but I think they have listened in the sense, because I think one of the main problem that we had sometimes with previous shows is sometimes the content or the story just drops off, and then it just how it starts, where it might start with a bang, and then 2-3 episodes in, it's not got the same tempo, and then they try to rush towards the end to try and get it back up, and then it's not. But I think this has been very consistently great. It's nothing
in terms of, I think you're right. In terms of the pacing stuff, they have listened, but in terms of kind of satisfying and appeasing the kind of anti-woke crowd, they've just said, no, we're not going to appease you. We're just going to do.
Yeah, but then they don't need to, because it's been great. So you don't need to appease anyone when your stuff is great. If you don't want to, if you don't like
but there's certain people on Twitter who, regardless, are just going to see a female lead and just get upset.
Yeah, but Manny, the show is called She-Hulk.
So yes, but there's still people on Twitter who don't know anything about the source material, think that Kevin Feige has made up this character She-Hulk in the past couple of years simply to create a female Hulk. And they
addressed
that. Why do we need a female Hulk?
But then they addressed that in the first episode. Remember when you had them guys there, like they were interviewing, like, oh great, so what? Now they want to turn Hulk into a woman, and they had the comments.
And that's what this show is poking fun at. Is poking fun at these losers who know nothing about the source material, but still feel as though they've got a right to an opinion.
Yeah,
sod those people.
No, it's true. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of ignorant people out there when they don't know something and they don't research it, they jump to random conclusion.
Yep, absolutely. So I've got a few comments before we log off and have our predictions for the next episode. Check out my early collection of Daredevil. Yeah, okay. The early 80s Daredevil is some of the most amazing writing ever. Some of that Frank Miller stuff. Even though Frank Miller's a slightly dodgy human now, but some of the writing is just amazing. He defends the gangster. He believed he was innocent, but the gangster had a pacemaker. Oh dear. That's what it says.
Basically, he got fooled because of that. So again, that's what, but it goes back to exactly what I said, that he might actually represent Titania.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to be the one prosecuting. It's now actually She-Hulk who might try and prosecute her but then again, she might actually be the one prosecuting She-Hulk to say, you can't use that name anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which in that case, then she could actually have Matt Murdock, who's her defense.
It could be.
You're being prosecuted, so he would defend you. But
it could
if they go the other way, where she actually says, no, I'm going to challenge Titania about this whole nonsense, then it puts her as the one being as the prosecutor, and then it leaves that room open for Titania to be the one being defended by Matt Murdock. So yeah, it just depends which way they're going to go with it. Who's going to draw first blood?
So brother's asking, twerking, yes or no? Yeah. Like it's two characters just being themselves and being liberated and dancing. Why the hell not have people being liberated and dancing when they want to dance and just expressing themselves and their sexuality freely? Well, put the £5 up down.
It's an art. And, as you can see, just to show, just like with anything, when you go on a long journey on a bus, on a coach, what do? You normally tip the driver just to say,
only for £15, you cheapskate. Put down the £5 note.
But, I'm just here to help.
See, Davian can't even make it rain because he's using the same £5 note over and over again.
That's one of unemployed enthusiastic that just go out there like, listen, I just got my.
Davian, carry on talking to the people. I'll be back.
Yes, and you have to do what you do. But yeah, I mean, going back to this show yet again, as we said, I think it's actually been very consistent. The story has been great, and I think it leaves a lot of room for a second season. to just fill us in on certain things, like i.e. what Bruce Banner was actually doing, where he went, his whole story. I think that would be actually good. So they got lots of content that they can work with for a second season.
So, David, what should happen is this.
So you actually just got up. You just left me here solo to go and get more than one £5 note.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because you're a cheapskate. And I just wanted to prove to everybody.
She-Hulk was very appreciative of this last week, yeah?
No, she wasn't. You never saw her. She's not real.
True.
Even though she does talk to the fourth wall. And if She-Hulk's going to marry anybody, it's going to be me. And I will fight you for
£5 gift towards your honeymoon.
And I will fight you for that right.
Hey,
so what's your prediction for episode 5? Apart from Daredevil.
There you go. See, I'm in the show.
Okay. What's your predictions for episode 5?
Maybe no more Wong this episode. I mean, maybe we'll see Wong the next episode after that, and Madison, and we might see more of what's going on. Maybe we'll see more of Donny Blaze next episode, because I think there's more to him than we actually know so far. Because surely he must have demonstrated something more than just opening the portal in order to get to perform at that club constantly. So maybe he can do a little bit more than he's actually showing us.
Yep, cool. I think we're going to have very much a Titania-based story next week. I think it's going to be more courtroom drama. I think next week we're going to have Daredevil come in as predicted, possibly even Matt Murdock on the stand doing some lawyer stuff. He may even, tell you what would be good if Matt Murdock does go against Jennifer Walters and totally kicks her ass. That would be interesting to see how she recovers.
Yeah, but then that couldn't happen because she hasn't got any case.
If she's representing herself, as you suggested, and Matt's representing Titania, and I
thought she would have got her ex-colleague to represent her, because I think even though he's annoying to her,
Bukowski,
yeah,
he's a district attorney, so he will only prosecute on behalf of the state, basically. So he will on behalf of police, investigations and stuff like that. So he wouldn't do that. Maybe Pug might represent her, but I think it'll be a good dynamic to see Matt Murdock actually going against Jennifer Walters. I think that'd be quite
if she's representing herself
in way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's what I think we're going to have. We're going to have a bit of a courtroom drama next week. Right, we are done. Cool. Say goodbye.
Bye, people. Out.